1970, I represented San Francisco at the White House Conference on Youth, and as a result of that experience, a lot of doors opened to me, and the biggest doors that opened were opened by Drs. Ray and Julian Richardson when they invited me to work behind the counter at the bookstore, and so that was just a transformative experience. And one of the other big experiences that I had, ironically, was with Dr. Carlton Goodlett, who called me into his office. I was working at as his women's editor at the Sun Reporter, and he told me to go to medical school, and I went to medical school. So, there's a lot of history, a lot of personal history. I used to babysit Karen's beautiful daughters, just a wonderful family, Karen and Greg. They're just really gorgeous people who deserve our support, and they are entrenched in history.
Today I'm representing the NAACP and the San Francisco Economic Opportunity Council. Just a couple of things. I could tell you a lot about Marcus Books. I have a wonderful history with it. And could tell you some great stories about Julian Richardson. He was a tough man. At least he was tough on me. Wonderful relationship. But I want to tell you a little history you don't know and no one's told you about. This building was slated to be torn down. They told us they were going to tear it down. Some gentleman showed up at redevelopment, I know his name, but I won't mention it now, and decided what he was going to do was buy these buildings and move them to Fisherman's Wharf and create Victorian Village at the wharf. We immediately started screaming, why can't we have Victorian Village in the Fillmore? You told us they were to be torn down. Now you're going to let somebody buy it. Well, he couldn't afford to do that, so then the redevelopment agency was going to let him cut off the Victorian facades, slap them on a building, a warehouse at Fisherman's Wharf, and that would be Victorian. Well, we screamed all the more and was able to stop that, and the community created Victorian Village. The community came up with the concept. The community came up with the idea, the African-American community, to move them where they are now. There were about 10 buildings involved, and every one of the original 9 owners was African-American. Over time and difficulty, that has changed. You just heard this gentleman say most of the representation and icons of African-American people are gone from Fillmore now. And it really reminds me of slavery, where they bring you here to do their bidding and don't want you to keep your culture and then want to wipe out all evidence of our culture. This is the last chance to save some of it, and it's on you. Thank you.
Executive Director of the Japantown Task Force, and I just want to echo the support for moving forward with landmarking here. I don't have to go into the long history of this business and this family with as being such a key part of the Japantown community for so long. I would only underline that, number one, Marcus Books is listed among the historic resources in Japantown, the 300 that are in a later report that you're going to see.
And I'm here on behalf of San Francisco Heritage. We're the city's largest and leading historic preservation and heritage conservation organization in the city. I'm here today to express our support for the designation of 1712-1716 Fillmore Street, otherwise known as Marcus Books, formerly Jimbo's Bop City. Designating the property as an Article 10 landmark will help confer a new level of recognition to this building, particularly for its association with Marcus Books, the first African-American owned and black-themed bookstore in the country. In addition, the building will serve as a tangible reminder of the Fillmore's once thriving African-American community and serves as a living symbol of black intellectualism and activism in San Francisco.
I make a motion that we initiate a designation for Marcus Books, and that in this period between now and when it comes back, that some of the additional research that Commissioner Matsuda had pointed out be added to the designation report.
Second. Thank you. We'll call the roll.
On that motion, then, to initiate and for staff to include the African-American and Japanese-American ties, as well as the social and cultural heritage context to the report that comes back to the commissioners in the future. On that motion, Commissioner Hyland?
Yes.
Commissioner Matsuda?
Yes.
Commissioner Perlman?
Yes.
Commissioner Wolfram?
Yes.
And Commission President Haas?
Yes.
So moved, Commissioners. That motion passes unanimously 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.